What's happening, everyone? TomGorian here. Welcome to the final ever series on F1 24. Today we are going to be attempting a last to first challenge around Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. Considering that this is the race that's happening this weekend, I thought I'd use Alex Albon's Williams to try and do a last to first challenge on F1 24. The aim is simple. We're going to start from dead last and hopefully try to win a race in this series. We've got around about 2 months left to try and get this race, well, try and do a last to first on this series. We're not going to be doing every single race, unfortunately, because I believe the final race before the game comes out is the Canadian Grand Prix, or Spanish Grand Prix, one of the two anyway. 101 difficulty, and we're going to be using simulation damage for this mini-series, which will be continuing on F1 25. But yeah, last to first challenge in a Williams. Can I win, potentially, in a Williams on 35% race distance and on simulation damage? Let's find out.
No fewer than 12 world champions have been crowned at Suzuka, but who will be tasting glory today at the checkered flag? We're approaching lights out, and we can't wait for the Japanese Grand Prix.
So here we are. Welcome to the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. I can't lie when I say this, I've done around about 2 mini races with no line, just practicing for this video. And yeah, just to get used to the game again. As far as the setup, this is the setup that we're going to be running. 128 wings, slight rotation there, and max rear anti-roll bar, max front suspension, and 11 rear suspension, 27.7 PSI on the tyre pressures. As you can see, the tyre strategy is kind of different for all the AI. We've got half on soft and half on medium. And we're going to be starting the race on mediums and finishing on the soft tyres. So that will give us a good offset as far as tyre performance for the second half of this race. And as you can see, there is confirmation there. But here we go. Last to first challenge on F1 24. 5 red lights here in Suzuka. And away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. 19 laps here to try and get last to first. Decent start there by Logan Sargent. That's a name I've not said in a long time. Around the outside in towards turn 1 and also turn 2. I like how it also curves as well in towards turn 2. We have to be very careful at the start of this race, considering that this is simulation damage. So you will get damage on the front wing, floor, side pods, and also the rear wing and diffuser as well. So we're going to be very careful on this first lap. As Charles Leclerc, that's P17 for Charles Leclerc. And I know Ferrari, they had a very difficult race in China with that double disqualification, and it's only going to be made even worse today. Hopefully Charles Leclerc doesn't qualify P17 for the actual race. That will be a disaster. Down inside we go on Daniel Ricciardo in the V-carb as well, and we've already made 4 positions as we enter sector 3 as we go in towards Spoon Corner for the first time of 19 times, and we're already in to P15. And we're going to dive down the inside of Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin in the hairpin for P14, excuse me, here at Suzuka. And you're going to be seeing a lot of overtakes in towards the hairpin and also in towards the chicane, because that's realistically one of the overtakes, one of the corners that you can actually overtake on the circuit, as we get a bit of a wiggle on the entry there. And I can't lie, it's a really good feeling. It's so satisfying when you make an overtake and you're braking and you slightly lose the back end there, but you correct it right before the corner and you still make the overtake. So that's actually kind of ridiculous. Once again, as you can see, the little wiggle there, just under braking, and I don't know, I think it's probably because of the front brake bias. We're running 54 just to get the car slightly rotated and more sensitive in towards the corner. Down the inside once again on Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas, and I have to say, Haas and Hülkenberg, well, mostly Haas, they had a good weekend last week in China. As you can see, the car felt understeery on lap 5, and there is the tyre wear, 21% on the front left as suspected against Carlos Sainz here. And now we're going in towards 130. We're all over Carlos Sainz. as we enter the chicane. And once again, we're going to dive down the inside. We're going to use him as a braking reference. And there is another overtake on the Ferrari, and we're already into P10. So this last first challenge is actually going quite well. As we now enter the hairpin, can we look on the inside of Valtteri Bottas? He's too far back wide. We're going to try and do the switch line, and that doesn't work simply because we lose the back end slightly there. However, lap 6, dive down the inside once again of Bottas in towards the chicane, and that's one thing they might need to fix for F125, is simply just the AI as far as the entry in towards the corners when they're together. And as you can see, once again, our braking Esteban Ocon this time. We do get our first warning though, so that is something we need to watch out for, as we already have our first round of pit stops. Pierre Gasly, Oscar Piastri. I also believe that was George Russell, as Yuki Tsunoda forces onto the grass there on the entry of 130R. We tried to go on the outside line there, but Tsunoda gave us little to no room. However, it doesn't really matter. We go down the inside of Tsunoda in towards the Casso triangle chicane there, and I believe Hamilton and also Norris box from the soft tyres. Lap 9, as you can see, we go slightly wide, a little bit deep there in towards that same chicane, and we do lose the back end there. However, Tsunoda, he will go into the pits, followed by Bottas and also Ocon, and also Verstappen is on hards. Very interesting strategy there from the Red Bull, if I do say so myself. Lando Norris leads. However, we are now making our pit stop on the beginning of lap 12 for a one-lap undercut. We were supposed to come in on the end of lap 12 on the start of 13, but we've decided to trigger a undercut, considering that the undercut is very powerful on F1 24. 2.4 second stop time, as Lando Norris sets the fast lap of the race of 1 minute 30.9. So yeah, pretty much. I think 101 is the right difficulty for me with no line. But as you can see, look at this gag of the cars. Hamilton, we've got Gasly, Tsunoda just ahead of us, and we've got Sainz and Ocon as well. So that's very critical for our challenge here today. And I think we can maybe try and get a podium if we are lucky. But as you can see, Tsunoda tries to go round the outside of Pierre Gasly into 130R. We get momentum and we have to slow down, otherwise we're going to absolutely rear end Yuki Tsunoda in towards 130R, and this is just a massive gaggle. We're going to try and do the switchback. Gasly actually held us up there entering the chicane, and we tried to do a switchback there, but now we're going to go on the offensive. First of all, we're going to get Gasly, squeeze him out a little bit. He's still there though, so we have to open up the steering and then dive down the inside of Yuki Tsunoda when he least expected it. Yuki was on hards, which I didn't expect the AI to do on a 35% race distance, considering that you wouldn't really do a mediums to hards. For God's sake, a penalty. That's gonna not do us any favors whatsoever. But as I was saying, you wouldn't expect the AI to do a soft to hard strategy. They would usually go with a soft to compound, especially in a lower distance race, as we do a 30 flat there on lap 13, and now lap 14 we're all over Lewis Hamilton entering 130R once again. He's going to leave the gap wide open down the inside in towards the hairpin, and that is it. When hairpin, chicane, and that is another overtake for the Williams, and we're doing quite well in this first challenge. I don't think we're going to get the win today. However, there is certainly every chance in the world that we could get onto the podium. As you can see, George Russell and Oscar Piastri side by side in towards the S's, with Oscar Piastri around the outside. Russell is still holding it, and I think Piastri will win the battle, and yes, he does. Oscar Piastri is now into P3 as we approach the penultimate lap of this race, 130R once again. We do gain massive amounts of momentum, as we're going to try and send it just like Senna did in 89, down inside. Bit of contact there, but we do get P4 in this race. And now we're going to try and hold off George Russell and see if we're close enough for Oscar Piastri in towards the final lap of this challenge. Last two first. It doesn't look like we're going to win, unfortunately, as I think Max Verstappen is going to win this race. However, we can get onto the podium. Well, we're not going to get onto the podium here because of that 3-second time penalty, unfortunately. However, we're going to use all the battery, switch back to the inside line. Down the inside, we go in towards the chicane. Bit of a shuffle there on the entry. We do get the braking zone absolutely right. We're going to finish this challenge P3 on the road, but it's going to be P5.
We just had everything
The checkered flag is out. We're going to be hearing that Dutch national anthem again because it's victory for Max Verstappen.
A great victory in their own right today, Crofty, but there's more to it than that as well. They're here on home soil for the power unit supplier, and that means a lot to them, and it means a lot to the team as well.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So that was a very fun challenge to do on F1 24. Very fun indeed, starting from last place and finishing in P5. We had some great overtakes as well, especially in towards that hairpin, and as well also into the chicane as well. But Verstappen wins. Maybe this is a sign for things to come. This weekend, Verstappen is owed a victory. However, that RB21 does not look like a good car to drive in, and a McLaren 2-3 once again. So maybe we're predicting, maybe F1 24 is predicting the podium for this weekend. But yeah, 5th place instead of the win. But yeah, that is that for the quote first challenge. We got 5th place in the end. But yeah, that is that. A very exciting video indeed. So yeah, I'll try and do another one next week. I don't know what race it is next week, but yeah, hopefully the start of a very exciting series. I definitely enjoyed it, and hopefully you did as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave like, share, comment, and subscribe for more F1 gaming content if you smell what the Scouse one is cooking.